Hi, I'm Laura Cathcart-Robbins, and I am the host and creator of the podcast, Only One in the Room. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us and lose yourself in someone's only one story. The Only One in the Room has a wide variety of guests, from prisoners to abuse survivors to swingers. With 21 seasons and counting, we guarantee that Only One in the Room will have a story that you'll connect with. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's hang out. Let's hang out. And let's talk about what legends have found. Let's hang out. And let's listen to two lesbians shout. Let's hang out. Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Let's Hang Out, a podcast that clearly has superheroes and villains, although we'll leave it to you to decide who's who. I love doing those because I just read them in real time. Like, I have Lee write them, and then I never know what I'm going to say until I read it, so.
And then she, dies laughing every time, and we have to do, 4 takes of it.
It's fine. It's great. But we'll leave it to you to decide who's who. From the East Coast, I'm Ellie Brigida.
And from the West Coast, I'm Lee Holmes Foster. If you are a longtime listener, thank you as always for joining us. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. We are super glad to have you here. And here's what's been going on lately.
This week in the Lesdom.
This Week in the Lesdom is a place for us to touch base each episode about things that are going on with the podcast, or just in our lives. And this week, the thing going on in our lives is, it's here, it's 2 days away, Halloween.
Yes! And this is, oh my God, Lee, this is your first Halloween with a baby.
It is. I know.
That is
and we're
so exciting.
So excited. Kelsey has been hard at work making a costume for Eloise. I'm super excited. I can almost guarantee there will be pictures. Don't worry. Are
you going to tell us, or you have to wait to see the pictures?
Oh, maybe we should make it a surprise. Should we make it a surprise?
No, I want to hear it.
We are planning a Ruth Baby Ginsburg costume.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not just Ruth Baby Ginsburg, but anyone who's an RBG fan might know that she has specific necklaces, collars that she wears for different things. So we are going to be hopefully having a Ruth Baby Ginsburg with her dissent collar, because we do not approve of many things that have been happening lately in the country.
Yep.
So I dissent.
Yes. And Ruth Baby Ginsburg dissents.
Yes.
Yes.
What about you, Ellie? What are you planning?
So I am going to be Poison Ivy, which I've been wanting to do for 10 years. And so
How on point for this episode, too.
Yes. I feel like it makes perfect sense. I ordered my costume. It's supposed to come in the mail today, so it is tight.
Wow.
Tight deadline. But,
looking at you, USPS.
Yeah, but I will have it. Don't worry. And nice. I'm debating dyeing my hair even redder.
Ooh.
So we'll see about that.
That is commitment.
Yes.
I love it.
And my girlfriend's also going to be Harley Quinn. So it's going to be
nice.
Super gay. Everyone knows Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn are gay lovers. Bisexual lovers. But
nice enough, emphatically enough, so nice. Nice.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you.
Yeah.
What are you and Kelsey being?
Probably I'm going to be wearing a Skelly's shirt, and we do not have time to plan a costume. I just got back from Switzerland this weekend. I am a little jet lagged and a little catching up on life still, so probably be focusing on getting Eloise a costume, and calling that a success for the year.
Wow. You're already
babies are a lot of work, you know?
You're already a mother, so selfless. The baby gets dressed before I do.
Baby gets a costume, I get a t-shirt. I think it's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Sets the tone for the rest of our lives.
And speaking of t-shirts, you can still get a Skelly's t-shirt. I don't care what time of the year it is. You can wear a gay skeleton shirt. So if you want that shirt...
I'm going to be rocking that bad boy left and right this year. Don't worry about it.
Yes. You can still get that t-shirt at bit.ly/lesshop. Shameless plug.
Yes. Also, I know we are still nailing down, some details. We are trying to make a New York show happen.
Yeah.
New York.
Super pumped.
So keep an eye out. We're hopefully going to be having some more details about that soon.
Yay. And this week in the actual Les universe, the larger Les universe.
Not just us?
Not
We're
just
not
us.
the Les universe?
I mean, there's some things that go on outside this podcast, Lee.
Good to know. Good to know.
And
think outside the box.
This one, think outside the box.
There's a really terrible pun sort of in there.
Yeah, we're just going to go around that. But Kaylani is freaking pregnant.
Woo!
And that is going to be the cutest, most amazing little queer baby the world has ever seen.
Yes, I love it.
So excited. I'm not sure how many details they've actually given about that. I remember she posted on Instagram and was like, more to come, but I don't know if there's more stuff from that. But amazing. She's going to be a great mother. I'm super excited to see a little Kaylani baby in this world.
Yes. I'm all about babies right now. We know that. So
yes.
There you go. So that's what's happening. Back to you, Ellie and Lee. Thanks, Ellie and Lee. And welcome everyone to episode 206, Flame On. This week, we are really excited to have Al Fletcher joining us.
Al is the comic expert on the podcast Gotham Arcade. Al, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. Fun fact, Al is our first local podcast guest.
Woo!
Yeah, the first person we're actually recording in person, or at least I'm in person with her.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool to actually have another human being next to me.
Jerry-rigged setup going on.
It's amazing.
We don't do this a lot. This is fun for us.
Yes.
Well, I'm assuming it's fun for you guys. I'm still out by myself.
It's okay, Lee.
We can see you, though. That's cool.
Hooray. Al, tell us a little bit more about Gotham Arcade, about your podcast.
Yeah, so Gotham Arcade is a weekly podcast that me and my best friend T do. We're both queer nerds, so we basically recommend each other. T recommends me a video game, and we'll play it, and I'll recommend a comic book, and then we'll read it, and then we'll get together at the end of the week and talk about one of the two.
Super
awesome.
Cool. Yeah. The episode that I liked the most that I listened to was the one about Motor Crush.
Motor Crush?
Yeah, Motor Crush.
Yeah.
Because it's a super queer comic, which I have yet to read. I know I need to get into it.
Oh, it's great. I can loan it to you if you want.
Yeah, I was definitely into it.
So if you are looking for some more queer nerdy fun, that's the place to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definally.
It
didn't start out as a queer focused podcast, but we're just so queer that it just seeped into it.
It's unavoidable sometimes.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah,
and it's
ours didn't
not
start
that...
as one. Never mind, I can't even do the joke. I was gonna say ours wasn't supposed to be queer either.
Oh. Naturally, with that name, who would even know?
Who would ever know?
We really just wanted to leave the door open to things with Let's Hang Out as a name.
Yeah.
So, just see where it takes us, see where we end up. But you guys are, it's recent, right? You launched pretty recently.
Yeah, I think we've been going for about 6 months now.
Nice.
We're 20-something episodes in.
Yeah, so it's you settle. You find your groove, you settle in. If that groove is queer, even better.
Yeah, and this is my first guesting gig, so I'm excited about this.
Oh.
Yes, we're super pumped.
We're the first ones. We get to
yeah.
Pop your guest cherry. I know you want to say it.
I was gonna not say that, but now we did. It's fine.
It's all right. I get it.
Well then, cool. We're glad you're here, and we are very excited because, as Ellie was just saying, I think we really wanted to do an episode on comics and all of the awesome queer stuff going on in comics, but neither one of us are super well versed.
Yeah.
In comics, so that's why we brought in the expert.
Yeah, that's me.
For
Here
everyone.
I am.
To spare them the experience of Ellie and I trying to pretend that we could run this conversation.
Literally any time that anybody needs to talk about comics, all they need to do is hit me up. My phone number is. I'm just kidding.
Yes, perfect.
And Al's phone gets flooded.
A lot of nerds are queer, and a lot of queers are nerds.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there's a lot of overlap.
Accurate.
Well, I think that brings us to one of the main things we want to talk about is why do queer people love comics?
My take on it, and the reason that I like them so much is, first of all, most queers and nerds are both like outcasted sort of, and it's sort of just like that's where like the overlap came for me, where like I was kind of just like a weirdo in school and into nerdy stuff. And I mean, also my dad got me into like nerdy stuff, but like, you know, I think when you're younger, like people are like, yeah, superheroes are for boys and, you know, princess stuff is for girls or whatever. And like, I just never really, I like Star Wars and like Harry Potter and, you know, all the queer, weird, witchy, comic sci-fi things. And I don't know, now I'm gay.
Comics turn you gay, people.
I think that's the obvious conclusion to draw. But I think what you're saying is, you know, there's some of the really obvious examples where, I mean, X-Men has been brought up a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
I was going to talk about that too.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it now. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's dive into X-Men.
I think X-Men is a classic example in terms of that whole, you know, like they covered it really obviously in the movie, I think, with, you know, have you tried not being a mutant? Which throws back similarly to like, you know, Buffy, like, have you tried not being the Slayer?
Yeah.
I think there's that, but there is, I think what you're saying is there's this sense in which, you know, superheroes, comic book characters to a large extent, there's that otherness, you know, that they're different somehow. Yeah. There's something that sets them apart that I think is very relatable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, as you're noticing, even as I bring up X-Men, I'm like, the movie and Buffy, things that I know stuff about. But let's talk a little bit more about the comics.
Yeah. I am also no stranger to Buffy. I just got a Buffy tattoo at Comic-Con.
Nice. Oh my God.
Which is the gayest thing I've ever said.
Amazing.
It's a heart with a stake through it.
Nice.
It's very cool.
It's awesome.
I'll send you a picture.
Yes, we'll put it up.
Yes. Oh my God. Send it to us and we'll put it on our Instagram. That's
Sounds
amazing.
Good. Yeah, let's talk comics.
Yeah, well, what are the main differences between the X-Men comics and the movies?
Well, I'm not gonna go pretending like I'm an X-Men expert because I don't really read as much Marvel as I want to sometimes. So that's the publisher that X-Men is on. But I have read a few comics. I feel like the movies cover that argument pretty well. But the X-Men comics started like by Stan Lee in the 60s as kind of like a mirror to the civil rights movement. And like as time moves on, like there are more and more, you know, comparisons to like the queer people and like that sort of like issue where people are like, that's wrong. Like hide yourself and register and we need to know who's who and like whatever. And you're like, I just want to be gay in my silence and like nobody needs to know, or like nobody needs to know that like I'm a mutant. I didn't ask for this. It just kind of happened, you know?
So it's like the parallels between like sort of race and sexuality and that kind of stuff.
And also being queer is a superpower.
Yeah. What? Of course. Yes. Yeah. No, yeah. I think like comics are cool because they're malleable. Like you can do so much with them, and that's why I've been getting so much more into like creator owned and indie stuff lately, because you can literally do whatever you want in a comic book. When you're playing with like DC and Marvel and like larger publishers, you can't really do as much. Like you can't just be like Batman's gay. Yeah. Because DC would be like, he's not gay. Yeah. And then you'd be like, he's gay in my headcanon.
Yeah. And even more so than DC would be like that, like the dude bros who read the comics would be like, he's not fucking gay, guys. He's
don't even get me started on Comicsgate. That's a huge thing happening right now.
Well,
what is that?
So Comicsgate is this like hate group movement happening when it's like all these like neckbeard like white dudes being like, comics are too diverse, like that's stupid, like comics are for like white men. And you're like, okay, well, comics are for everyone, first of all.
Yeah,
it's like a huge thing going on Twitter right now, and like the comics Twitter. And all of the creators that they were like, oh, I'm inspired by them. They're like, this is a hate group. Like, get out of here. Yeah. So like a lot of like big comic pros are like shutting them down and like loudly opposing them, which I think is really amazing.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
At least they're like not encouraging stupidity.
Yeah. There are a couple, and then everyone's like, all right, we're not going to buy your books anymore because, like, fuck you.
Yeah. Valid.
Well, and because it's such a weird response to something that is, I mean, I think, you know, we're seeing the obvious parallels for queer people, But that is the takeaway of so many comic stories and so many superhero stories is like, you know, being the outcast, being the other, being the person who doesn't have a voice, who gets a voice, or the person who stands up for those people who don't have a voice, you know?
Definitely.
And so that being the response, like that being the takeaway of like, oh yeah, it needs to be like just about cis white men and only like, you know, only that. What? Like, where would you ever
It doesn't
get
even
that?
make sense. Like, at first I was just like, that's dumb. It doesn't make sense. But then it like started getting like really like hateful and spiteful and like whatever. So
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the diversity in comics that idiots are talking against. But
boo.
started to talk a little bit about more like indie comics.
Mm-hmm.
So out of those indie comics, like what are some of your favorites and why? I know that's like a broad.
Oh no, that's cool. Like we said before, Motor Crush, that's like one of my favorites. And I like Motor Crush so much because one, the story is awesome, the artwork's amazing, and there are queer characters, but they're pre-existing queer characters.
Mm-hmm.
When you come into the book, there are two characters that had previously dated that aren't dating anymore, that have some sort of like tension. But like before the book even happened, there was an entire relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nobody's coming out. You know, which like of
Right.
course like it's okay like to have coming out stories. I've heard you guys talk about this on the podcast as well, but it's okay to have coming out stories. It's like encouraged, but also it's nice to have existing queer stories.
Yep.
Where like every story isn't just, oh, and now they're gay. Oh, and now they're gay, and like figuring it
Right.
out, you know? Like I've been out for like a long time, so like I want existing queer people in my stories.
Mhm.
So
Right.
also Hack Slash is this Image comic, that's the publisher, from a while ago that they just rebooted. But the character has been the main character, Cassie. She's like, she struggles with her sexuality and sort of like coming out in the original story, but like she's a bi character.
Mhm.
And like that was one of the first bi characters I ever read in a comic, and I was like, "Wow, this is cool."
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know. And the guy that wrote it, his name is Tim Seeley, and he's like a middle-aged dude, but he's super cool. And when they rebooted it, he got my current favorite comic writer. Her name is Teenie Howard, who is a bisexual, like witchy, loudmouthed woman who's now writing the character that like mirrors her, which I
Yeah.
think is awesome. That he was like,
Nice.
you know, I made these characters and I did a long run on this book, and I want to bring it back, but I want to bring it back with people that like should be heard, which I
Yeah.
think is really
Yeah.
cool.
That's awesome. Well, and it's cool to like get I'm sure it like gives a slightly different voice, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It is a little bit more authentic.
Yeah.
Have you read before and after? Like, do you
Yeah.
notice a big difference in that?
Yeah, I mean, the whole run wasn't written by him exactly, but like, and obviously, like writing the same character, they're going to like have those same things.
Yeah.
But I can definitely tell that like somebody who should be writing that character is writing it. Like it's
Yeah.
just a lot of like fun, and just like definitely a more authentic as far as like, you know, queer attraction and stuff goes.
Cool.
Right. And it's something that we say a lot too, like even with, you know, a lot of media, like with TV, with movies, it's not like you can only have queer people acting out queer roles. You can have straight people acting them. And I think to a certain extent you can have straight people writing them as well, but it is like as soon as you get those voices in the writer's room or those people acting it out, there is something about that authenticity that I think, especially to queer people, jumps out at us. You
Yeah.
know, like there is a noticeable difference usually.
Absolutely. And there's just been such a rise in queer comic creators that are like writing mainstream stuff even. Like
Yeah.
Teenie Howard, who I was just mentioning, like is writing the Captain America annual. That's like one of the biggest Captain America books like of the year. So I'm like, yes, bitch, write that large publisher stuff.
Yes.
Nice.
Kate Leth is like a big comic person, right? And she
Yeah.
did what? Am I wrong?
Yeah, she did Hellcat.
Okay, I didn't want to be wrong.
No, it's cool.
But like I feel like she's like little lesbian or like celebrity queer
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Do you like
Well,
follow her on
so-
Instagram and
so-
stuff? That's so funny.
So is there like
And
a bi?
I
we need,
never
like,
read any of her comics, but I still follow her. Like
We need
okay.
like a lesbian term for bisexuals. What do we call them? We need a new name.
Oh,
we'll come up with something.
shit.
We needed like a segment of Ellie and I trying to come up with names for shit and being terrible at it.
So bad at it. But it's so true because like I want to say there is a lesbian, but I'm like, you might not identify as a lesbian, so I don't want to be like...
Kate
Well, she
Ruff is
doesn't. She's bisexual.
Yeah. So you follow her too. That's so funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
I started following her without reading any of her books either, which I
Yeah.
think is funny. Yeah, she was at FlameCon this year.
Oh, yes. And you were also at FlameCon.
I also
Good
was at
segue.
FlameCon.
So how was
thank you.
FlameCon? Well, how was that experience for you?
It was great. Me and my little queer comics podcast, we applied for press passes, and we're small, like nobody listens to us. And they were like, yeah,
They will
definitely.
now.
I know. Hey guys. But yeah, we got press passes really easily, which was cool. And it, like,
Nice.
cause like it's not really that affordable to like pay for a
Go,
convention and stay and travel to
Yeah.
New York.
Mhm.
But we were like, oh, we get into the convention for free, so we have to go.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was amazing. You walk in and it's just literally queer nerds is the whole entire floor. And all of the panels were queer panels. They did a like how Sailor Moon made me gay panel,
Nice.
a Steven Universe panel called Gay Space Rocks. It was amazing. And all of the queer creators like peddling their wares in the artist alley. Like it was so cool to see like so many people like buying art and supporting them, and like, you know, they get to like buy food because people bought their art. It's like amazing.
Mhm.
Right. Well, and I assume it was similar to like we also had like our first press experience at Klexicon this past year, but also just I assume FlameCon is similar, where it's just like you walk into a space and it's like your people, you know?
Yes.
It's just you're like, yes, here you are, all of my people. I've found you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Where
mean,
have you been?
And because like I go to all the conventions, like I go to Anime Boston and Boston Comic Con and every other convention that I can literally go to, and I've been going to them for years, so I feel pretty comfortable in a space that's predominantly dominated by, you know, men.
Mm-hmm.
And I got mansplained to at Comic Con this year, and I was like, you think I'm gonna buy stuff from your table now? I'll kill you. But it's so cool that you never have to worry about that kind of thing at FlameCon. You're walking in and you're just like, people are just like, you look amazing. Like they run up to you and they're like, you're beautiful. And you're like, oh my God,
So are you.
thank you. It's
Yeah.
Did you cosplay?
No.
You were just like going all out, Al.
Yeah. Most of the time people think I'm cosplaying when I just wear my normal clothes to conventions. They're like, are you this? And I'm like, no, this is me. I don't even know the character. They're yelling at me and I'm like, what? And they're like, oh, you just look like that? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
You just are your own like
Comic
queer
book hero.
superhero.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally my dream.
Nice.
Yes.
There
Amazing.
you go. And you've done it and you've made it.
Oh, thank you.
You've made it.
I feel like there's been a lot more coverage in the past couple of years especially at Comic-Cons of people who cosplay characters either as gender bent versions, as like people of color cosplaying characters who like, you know, same thing, like have suddenly get a ton of shit for it, and you're like, no, like why is that not the response? Why would the response not be like, you look fucking amazing?
I know, right? We're all nerds. Everybody has headcanon.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. It's ridiculous.
I also
so.
love that. I don't think I've ever heard the word headcanon, but like I know
Really?
what it means,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
because we do it all the time.
Yeah.
But
Queers are the champions of the headcanon.
headcanon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes.
yeah.
Because you're like shipping people like Buffy and Faith.
Yes. 100%. It's coming. Don't worry. It's coming.
That's canon. Come on.
I know, right?
That is canon.
100%
Let's all be honest
canon.
with ourselves.
All of our should have been gays are canon.
There's
so.
actually a convention coming up in October that I want to go to. It's in Framingham in Massachusetts. It's like a small little thing,
Oh my God,
but
is James
James
gonna be there?
Marsters, no, Spike and Cordelia are going to be there.
What?
have to
Oh my
go.
God.
You wanna come?
I'm so
let's go.
jealous.
You could drive me.
Yeah, let's do it.
That sounds good. Entry's really cheap.
Guys,
Oh my God,
I'm so far away.
Sorry, Lee.
Just fly over here and come to the convention. It's fine.
Yeah, I know. When is it?
Next month. Or, yeah, next month.
All right.
Yeah, I can't fly.
You could do
next
it.
month.
You could do it.
Oh, congratulations
Next
on
time,
your baby.
next time. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
She's
Huge.
great, but she makes travel a little more complicated.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Just a little.
Just a little. That's fine.
All right, I would love to talk about, I don't know the best way to segue this, so I'm just going to say we're going to talk about something different now. Okay.
Yeah, good. I think that's very,
That's
very
honest,
clear.
right? Yeah.
Everyone knows what's happening. No one's confused.
Would really like to get into, we did talk about this a little bit, but adapting comics from movies and TV, because we talked a little bit about how you're saying, like, obviously people are like, you can't make Batman gay, whatever. But also people are like, oh, you can't make Wonder Woman bisexual. And it's like,
she's
you
literally bisexual.
Yeah. So I would love to just know your thoughts on, number one, why you think they don't really go there on a lot of the things, or why they do go there, like why they choose to go there on like TV shows. I think are far more likely to have gay characters than these big blockbuster movies.
Yeah, I feel as though like you definitely have a lot more freedom on TV. I don't know why that is, because I don't write for TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the CW, the Arrowverse they call it, is like
gay.
I watch all the shows, yeah, and it's super gay because Greg Berlanti is the executive producer, I think, on most of the shows. He's like basically the king of the CW like Arrowverse, and like all the people are gay, and it's so sick. But they have like all different kinds of queer people. They have gay married dudes, and they have bi women dating men, and vice versa, and all this stuff. And I think it's cool that there's like a bunch of different kinds of queer people. It's not just like, here's the token lesbian, here's the token gay dude, and he's fabulous.
and she's gonna die soon. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, that's just the worst.
Yeah.
Everyone at FlameCon was like, why are they killing us? And everything.
Yeah.
It's so lame.
But I do feel like you're starting to see them stray away from that. And especially, CW, I think, has gotten some flack for that already in the past. And so I feel like that we're seeing a lot less of that right now.
Yeah.
That they are like introducing new characters and keeping them alive.
And they'll make characters from the multiverse, which is just kind of like different Earths, so that you can make different personalities of the same actors, so they can bring them back even if the characters are dead, which I think is hilarious. Yeah. But they'll bring back a character from the multiverse of a character that was straight on like our Earth, and they'll be like bisexual in that Earth.
Oh my god, amazing!
Which is so cool.
It's like Vampire Willow.
Yes.
Oh my god. There's so many things lately where we're seeing comics being moved up to the screen. Right? Like, we have all the DC and Marvel movies, we have Wonder Woman, we have all the shows, there's a lot of things. And so, yeah, I am curious, like, what are some of the ones that you think have translated well? What are some of the ones that you think haven't really worked?
I'm a big fan of the CW, because I think that the shows are really fun, and they don't take themselves too seriously. Like, other shows can get, like, really gritty, and that's, like, maybe why some of them didn't work. Like Smallville was good and it ran for a long time, but it wasn't like, I mean, and I guess that was like that for then, so I'm just not even gonna get into that. But I really like Riverdale, and I know that's also on the CW, but Riverdale is like the weirdest, coolest thing.
Yeah, and I will say I just started watching it.
Oh my god.
Al's girlfriend Amanda, I went to college with her, and Al and Amanda have been telling me to watch Riverdale for like since it was on. They watched it with my mom and I wasn't there.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I just started watching it and I can agree it's freaking amazing.
Seriously, I couldn't make it through the first episode. I feel so bad.
I'm so into it.
I think the first season's a little harder to get into, but I understand.
I watched the first episode and so we had a friend who recommended it to us who did the same thing, like kept bugging us to watch it. And I watched the first episode and I was like, how many slow-mo close-ups of dudes' abs do you think I want to watch?
I can get through the Archie stuff if I get to see all the hot women that are on that show. Holy God.
Yeah,
yes.
I guess.
Cheryl also scare rouses the shit out of me.
Oh my God. Cheryl's my like
Yeah. And it's sort of weird though. Sometimes I look at her and I'm like, I'm not saying that I look like her, but like she's a redhead and really pale. And I'm like, is it narcissistic to think a pale redhead is hot? You know what I mean?
I think short-haired punk girls are cute all the time.
Right. And I'm like, Cheryl, we would make a really interesting looking couple next to each other because we'd look like sisters, but I would still do it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to spoil, but I know that you know about Shoni, obviously.
Yeah.
And like that's my favorite thing ever because I was really into Cheryl, but then they were doing interviews in between seasons 1 and 2, and Madeleine Pesch, who portrays Cheryl, was like, I really want my character to be like bisexual or like queer in some way, and like I really want this to happen. And now it's a thing, which is cool, which means that like the producers and the showrunners are like listening to the cast and like what they want and like respecting them, which I think is really cool. Yeah, because they're like, we want to give Cheryl a love interest, and then she was like, yo, can I be bi? And they were like, yeah, sure.
Nice.
Is Cheryl not bi in the comics?
No, not well, not yet.
Anyone?
Not yet.
Okay.
You know, Kevin Keller is gay in the comics, and he was created by a queer creator called Dan Parent, who does Archie stories.
Cool.
But he brought the first openly gay Archie character into the world.
That's pretty cool.
Viva Kevin Keller.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a real quick sidetrack because you're saying, you know, when showrunners, when they listen to stuff like that, either from the actors themselves or from the audience, I'm really curious, why do you think there are still some of them that resist not just like audience outcries, but resist like the very obvious chemistry on screen? Obviously, I'm talking Supergirl right now.
Oh, of course.
Where it's like, it's there, but they're like deliberately avoiding it, you know?
They were like, oh, by the way, now you're just going to date James Olsen, Lena.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that couple makes literally no sense.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, of course, I was getting the gay vibes from Lena and Kara for like the first 2 seasons or however long it's been running. And yeah, and that Comic-Con thing that happened when everyone in the cast was like, they're not dating. Stop saying it. We're like, everybody wants this.
Yep.
Right.
Just give it to us. But I think they were like, she can't be gay. Her sister's gay. And like, she can be gay.
Yep.
Tegan and Sarah are gay.
Honestly. Literally, like, quote. I'm like using that quote. She can't be gay. Her sister's gay. Tegan and Sarah are gay. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
done. Lawyered. There you go.
everybody wanted the Lena and Kara thing.
Yeah.
But
so I'm just curious, like, why do you think that is? That some either different? Do you think it's just different showrunners? Do you think because it's the same network, right? Aren't they?
Yeah.
They're
it's
also
on the same.
CW.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just think it's funny that like some places where they'll be like, oh, you want them to be gay, and it sort of makes sense, and you could like totally see it. You're like, sure, why not? And then other places where it's like glaringly in your face, like, look at how freaking gay they are, and they're like, no, they're just besties.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
Gal pals.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I think like TV probably has like a quota on how many like diverse people you can have in a show, like, and still appeal to like straight white dudes who like are watching the CW shows. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of them were like, we can't have one more gay character on Supergirl. Then that's not for me anymore. And it's like, maybe Supergirl isn't for you.
Yeah, maybe Supergirl's for the gays. Let's be real.
Somewhere there's like a dark cabal like meeting in an underground room being like, okay, we have one more. And they're like, they have like a little chalkboard and they're counting up the characters.
The CW has gone over capacity.
There you go.
But they explain it with the multiverse.
Maybe next season, guys. Maybe next season. We'll wait.
Maybe there's another Lena
also,
in another
like,
world.
Honorable mention to like The Legend of Korra, which is the sequel to Avatar.
Yeah.
So in that show, in the 3rd season, or the 4th season actually, the last scene is like Korra, the Avatar, and her female friend who are clearly about to go on a romantic gallivant in the spirit world. But there's no kiss or anything. Mm-hmm. But they rebooted it in a comic, my thing, and they're canon gay now.
Amazing.
Nice.
They have smooched.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey, guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hey, do you like true crime? Me too. And I know what you're thinking. There's so many true crime pods out there, you've already heard all the stories. Well, what if I were to tell you you're wrong? I'm Leroy Luna, the host of Excuse Me, That's Illegal, the podcast that takes a hardcore look at softcore crime. I've got a back catalog of hundreds of bizarre and hilarious stories just waiting to be heard by you. So come join me. Excuse Me, That's Illegal is available anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, with new episodes dropping on the 10th, 20th, and 30th every month, baby.
They go on dates. They've come out to people. It's amazing.
Do you think comics, like actual the comics themselves, like the books, do you think they have some more freedom to work with it? Like, do you think creators have a little more license?
Yeah, I think when you're working with properties, it's a little bit tougher, but I think it's doable, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, and Nickelodeon, like these comics are licensed properties. So I'm not sure how it works, but like I think that like there's definitely more freedom within comics of your own creation and like stuff like that. But
yeah.
But like I think that like most people are like not terrible, so you can probably be like, "Hey, can we make these characters gay even though it's for Nickelodeon?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, young kids should be, witnessing that this is a possibility in the future, that if they like girls, that it's not weird."
Yeah.
It's just a thing that the Avatar can do, or like that like gay space rocks on Steven Universe can do and get married on screen.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The first like lesbian wedding in a cartoon.
Amazing.
Which is huge.
I know. I still have
big.
to watch Steven Universe.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
really know.
It's great. I mean, it's long, but the episodes are only 11 minutes, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
if you get around to that, that's a good thing to watch.
Yeah.
I feel like I want someone to do like a really involved exploration into what difference it makes. Because the thing is, I feel like, sorry, I'm going off on like a complete tangent again. I apologize.
Go for it.
We are having the worst segues in this. We have like no. It's fine. It's
I'm
fine.
just along for the ride.
Yeah, there you go. I'm having these like two separate trains of thoughts right now. One of them is when you have comics, one of the things that I think is really interesting that like maybe is more freeing in some ways is they're static, right? Like it's one picture. You don't have to show everything. So when you have gay characters, you don't have to have like, a ton of like, oh, here they are and they have to be like touching, feely all the time, like because you're just showing them like a frame at a time, right? And I wonder if that's more freeing in some ways, that because it's like a lot of exposition, it's a lot of dialogue, it's a lot of how characters talk to each other. If that gives more freedom to creators to like introduce queer elements. But then at the same time, I have like the complete opposite thought going, which is like when you do have queer characters interact, when you have them kiss, like that is a static moment captured in time forever. Like if you have characters kiss on screen, it's like they kiss, it's over. Like you don't keep seeing it after it happens, but like when you have a kiss on a page, it's there. and like it's there forever.
And you can look at it for as long as you want.
Literally, I do that. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is amazing.
Yeah.
Just staring
But I'm
at...
curious, like, I want someone to, like, write their thesis on this. So, like, if someone out there is looking for a cool thesis idea, you can have this for free. But I am curious, like, what difference, you know, like, that makes.
Well, I wonder, too, if the difference is also, I think, an audience.
Yeah.
I think it's similar to podcasts in that, like, comics are, there's so many of them and they're so niche.
Yeah.
So it's like you can choose exactly what type of comic you want to read. Like,
That's a
and
good
you're
point.
not like, okay, well, here's all of the programming that is allowed to me on a TV or at the movies at a certain time.
Yeah.
You know,
That's definitely a good point.
That it gets easier for you to, like, really target your audience.
Yeah, I think that's maybe why there is so much freedom, because, like, there's always going to be, like, your straight, white, male superheroes, which I'm not going to lie, I'm super into.
Yeah.
But also, then there's, you know, books with, like, gay magic girls kissing, and, you know, I'm going to get that too. But, like, that guy doesn't have to pick that up if he just wants to read, you know, Superman and, like, Daredevil, which is fine.
Yeah. Okay, you can segue us now, Ellie. I'm sorry.
Great.
I've taken us on enough tangents.
Thank you, Lee. All right. I just really can't... We cannot end this conversation without talking about Batwoman. So I just really need to know your thoughts about the new Batwoman coming out.
First of all, I am very, very excited because Batwoman has been, like, my favorite superhero
nice
since she rebooted from the old Batwoman to the new Batwoman. So
which was when, for those of us who are so not well versed in comics.
I believe that was like the late 2000s.
Okay.
I know they rebooted her with the New 52, which came out in 2011. But they had a quick little reboot of her that came out in the year or so before that, which I have collected in a trade.
Amazing.
But yeah, so
and what was notable about the reboot, in your opinion?
Well, so the Batwoman from Days Past was created to dispel rumors that Batman was gay with Robin. So they gave Batman a girlfriend, and her name was Batwoman. And she kind of, like, laid dormant. She wasn't very, like, she was popular at the time, but then she kind of just, like, died in the Silver Age and stuff like that in, like, the 80s. And, you know, then they were like, we kind of like this character, like, in her name, but we don't need any of the other shit. But yeah, so when they rebooted her, they made her a lesbian, and they completely made her story, like, different. Like, so she's not the same character. But yes, I picked up that book, and I was immediately like, first of all, this artwork is amazing, and second of all, this character's gay. And like this was, like, around the time when I wasn't reading, like, it wasn't easy to find a gay character in comics without, like, seeking it out. And so I immediately fell in love with her, and she's 100% my type.
Yeah.
Like that Bob. But so, and my girlfriend will tell you I have multiple Batwoman statues, which you can see one over there.
Nice.
Oh my God, I do see it. It's amazing.
Anyway, I'm very, very excited for this reboot because, one, it's going to be on the CW, which is dope. And at first I was a little apprehensive about it being Ruby Rose, and then I was like, why? Why am I apprehensive about that? That's going to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that they're, like, they casted a queer person because that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could talk about Batwoman for hours, so cut me off.
Oh my God. Well, I'm excited. I have no clue what the show's going to be about because I haven't read any of the Batwoman comics.
She actually doesn't have a very large catalog because she's fairly new. So it's easy to get your hands on, however, like 10 volumes tops that there are of her, like, in them.
Okay.
And I also have them, so if you want to borrow them.
Sick. But I am definitely excited to see a lesbian superhero as the title character. Because we have seen some lesbian superheroes on the CW. But this is, like, the first time we're getting, like, this is, like, the protagonist.
Yeah.
Not this, side character.
And being played by a queer actor. I mean, I think, you know, what we were saying before, it does make a difference to sort of have that voice be an authentic voice. And I think it's huge that they're deciding to do that for exactly what you're saying, Ellie, for someone who is going to be, like, fronting that show, you know? Like, that's a big deal, so.
Definitely.
So there you go. We are also excited. I expect now that you've made that offer, Ellie will be completely up to speed and well versed.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm at least watching the show.
I know you got stuff to do.
That's for sure. I will watch the show.
No, we've got nothing going on these days. What are you talking about? Nothing but time.
Let's do an episode after let's do a watching party of the Batwoman.
Yes, of the premiere.
Yeah. Well,
That'd
she's gonna be on the Arrowverse crossover this winter.
Yes.
That's when she's gonna appear, and then her show I think is gonna be on next year.
Nice.
So
nice. Definitely the crossover.
So exciting.
Yeah. Huge.
Before we finish, we do also have one other thing that we kind of need to introduce. So we recently had May Rude on the podcast, who is also like very big on comics, reads a ton of comics, and we
did not talk to her about comics, but we just asked
at the end.
So could you maybe give us like a few comic book recommendations?
Like, what are some of your favorite queer comics? And she, I think, went on for
20 minutes?
Many minutes. We have many minutes of footage of her.
I am restraining myself so hard.
Yeah,
too.
I'm honestly very proud.
Like, I have a list.
So what we did is we've decided, instead of playing it all in that episode, we're just going to be releasing them little clips at a time in a segment that we have not yet named. So we'll come up with a name for it. But here's the next installment of May Rude lists queer comics.
May is reading comics and she likes a lot of comics and she's got a list of comics for you.
Oh, Human Star by Blue Delaquanti. Oh, there's this cartoonist Gigi DG who does Cucumber Quest and did this one a couple years ago called Lady of the Shard. That's just like this amazing queer science fiction epic thing. Mari Costa does this comic called Fairy Tale. It's really cute about like fairies and stuff. There's a comic that I love called This Is Not Fiction. It's about two high school boys who are like in love with each other, but not like there yet, you know? Super cute.
Rapid fire, what's your list?
Oh shit, I'm not rapid fire ready.
Just 10. What? You said you had some written down, didn't you?
No,
yeah,
10.
I do.
Come on.
What? Whatever
10,
you have written.
5.
I'll do 5. I'll do 5.
5.
Okay. Batwoman is the top of my list just because I love her so much. Gem and the Holograms is the reboot of the 80s cartoon that is done tastefully and not like that crappy movie they made. But there are queer characters galore in that book and it's amazing. Hackslash, just because I know that she didn't say that on her list. Let's say Gail Simone's Batgirl run. Batgirl herself is not queer, but there is a queer character in it. And awesome coming out. And honorable mention, I'm just going to say the entire app of Webtoons. Like almost every comic on there is gay. Like Adam Ellis does his comic on there.
Mm-hmm.
And there are titles like Shoot Around and Always Human, and those are both super duper gay. One of them is about a zombie apocalypse, but they're all gay.
Amazing.
Which is so good.
Honestly, that sounds perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. I should have been more prepared for that.
No,
and Motor Crush. I'm sorry. Like,
okay.
That's it.
That's an it's totally acceptable. We sprung it on you. We didn't give you advance notice.
30 minutes
That's
later.
all right. I'm like looking at my comics and I'm like, what do I read? What's a comic?
Beautiful. All right. Nice. I think it's that time, Holly. All right. It is time for Q and Gay.
Q and Gay.
So, Al, I know you've listened to the podcast before. We're going to do our Q and Gay, where we ask you questions, and then our listeners can answer the questions on Twitter. You ready?
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. Your favorite queer comic book superhero? A, Wonder Woman. B, Carolina Dean. C, Batwoman. D, Thunder.
Batwoman.
I should have known.
Yeah. There's competition, but it's futile.
Okay, question 2. And I think you already answered this as well, but just for the record, DC or Marvel?
DC. Sorry, Marvel. I'm trying to get back into them, but it's expensive.
It's okay. All right. Favorite queer comic book villain? A, Harley Quinn. B, Poison Ivy. C, Catwoman. Or D, Mystique.
Dang. I'm gonna go Harley Quinn because I'm wearing a shirt.
Nice.
You know.
Yeah.
I like all those ladies though. They're the badass.
Yeah. I have a dream to I have a dream. I have a dream to dress up as Poison Ivy and have my girlfriend dress up as Harley Quinn.
Nice.
That's the good.
It would totally
you gotta get some good role playing.
Yeah, it would totally kill. But she's also like, she's like, why do I have to be like the crazy looking one? Like, I feel like Harley Quinn's hot, but you have to do like all the makeup and everything. Like,
you can do it without the makeup.
Like,
the answer
key.
is because she's the blonde.
Exactly.
It's just
exactly.
We
I'm
were
like,
all
I'm
thinking
not gonna,
it.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna switch roles with you. I want to be Poison Ivy.
Also, I want to say, I forgot to mention earlier, but Runaways that you just brought it up and it sparked my memory is a really awesome adaptation on Hulu. If you guys are interested in watching
I started
that.
it, and I'm like, I loved it.
It's
and
really
it just
good.
like was one of those things that fell to the side.
That's also one of the first queer characters I ever saw in comics. Like was Carolina. So
yeah. I want to get back into it because I like loved what I saw so far. But
yeah, it was
just
cool. Who doesn't love superpowered teens?
Yeah,
that are also gay.
Nobody
amazing.
does it. Okay, question 4. Would you rather be in A, X-Men, B, Justice League, or C, The Avengers?
I'm gonna go with Justice League because, or should I do X-Men? I'm thinking X-Men. It would be hard to be a mutant in that universe, but also like they're like the champions of it. They're like, yeah, you guys can like say all this shit about us, but like I don't care. Like, we're mutants and we're gonna save you even if you hate us, which I think is dope. Also, I don't want to work with Batman because he kind of seems like an ass.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna love this
Batman?
next question.
Sorry?
I said which Batman? Like which actor is Batman?
No,
or just Batman in general?
The Justice, like the Batman that's in
the
Justice League, like is everyone's always like, why are you such like a wet blanket all the time? And he's like, I'm prepared. I mean, I love Batman. He's my favorite character. Also, today is Batman Day.
What?
Yeah, it's his birthday or whatever.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
So
What a
I think
great
he's been
day.
around for almost 80 years now.
That's pretty crazy.
Or 80 years today. Anyway, what's
That
this
makes
next
sense.
question?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, wait. That was the next question. I
is the next
literally
question.
just asked that like off the top of my head, but the next question is, who is the best Batman? A, Adam West, B, Michael Keaton, C, Christian Bale, or D, Will Arnett?
The Lego movie.
Yes. Hey, Lego Batman is a legitimate Batman choice. Okay,
That's fair. I'm gonna go with Michael Keaton because he is the true Batman on screen because he does the Batman and the Bruce Wayne, and he's so good at it.
All right. Good answer.
Honorable mention to Kevin Conroy, who does the voice on Batman the Animated Series, because he's the Batman that I hear in my head when I'm reading the comics, which is cool.
There you go.
Nice.
And honorable mention to Will Arnett because
the Lego movie is amazing. It's actually really
You
is.
were like, Will Arnett. What?
Yeah, I know. I was like, huh? I actually have seen
I
Lego
like that you guys
Batman,
didn't
though.
even put Ben Affleck on there at all.
No.
Just like, bye.
No.
First of all, he looks amazing in the costume,
Yeah.
but also those movies are trash.
Yeah.
There was
Did
an
you guys
executive
see
decision
Justice
made.
League?
We
I
did not include Ben
couldn't.
Affleck.
I couldn't even bring
It was
myself
bad.
to
I
watch
watched it on
it.
a plane for free, and it was really bad.
I couldn't.
There you go. Remember, you can all give us your answers to this episode's Q&A questions on our Twitter at Let's Hang Out Pod.
So, where can we find Al and Gotham Arcade?
Gotham Arcade, you can find anywhere you get podcasts, like Apple or Google. Is it Google Play?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, anywhere you find podcasts, including Spotify.
Amazing.
And you can follow us on Twitter at Gotham Arcade, and you can follow me on Twitter at Pogo_and_work.
Amazing.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This has been a blast.
Yes, it was
Thank
so
you
fun.
so
Thank you so much.
Let me hear you say hip, 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 well, yeah.
We love hearing from you and building our community, so we just want to shout out some of our favorite things each episode. And this episode, we wanted to talk about, we've been getting a lot of emails from different young people and people who are out. And of course, we're not going to out you guys, of course.
Right.
But,
No names.
But in general, we just wanted to give you all a shout out and just say thank you for listening and to take your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no rush. There's no rush. Be who you gotta be. Do what you gotta do. It really means a lot to us to get these emails, and it really means a lot to us that the podcast is important and is meaningful for all of you. So what we wanted to say is we love hearing from you. We love getting those emails. And if there's something else that you want to hear about, send us topic ideas. I mean, I think we try to come up with what seems, interesting to us from our perspective, but we know there's so many other people, there's so much more stuff going on, and everyone has their own journey and their own path. So let us know. We love getting suggestions, and we just wanted to take the opportunity to say we do hear you guys. We know you're out there, and we are always keeping that in the back of our minds when we do the podcast. So that's why we're here.
All of the love to all of you.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And then we also want to thank our patrons. As always, we could not be doing this without you. We have been overwhelmed by the support, especially this season.
Absolutely.
We really want to give a big shout out to our top tier lesbian Jesus patrons, Amy and Ellen,
Kayla Kelly,
Lizette Stye,
Tanya Ferguson,
Jess Klaus,
and Danny Griswold. Thank you so much.
Remember, you can also find us on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Let's Hang Out Pod.
You can email us at letshangoutpod@gmail.com. We love hearing from you.
Or you can check out our website at letshangoutpod.com.
And make sure that you subscribe so that you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop.
And we're also posting videos on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/letshangoutpod.
If you want to help support the podcast, there are a couple different things that you can do. One of them, you can rate and review us on iTunes, help other people find the podcast.
You can also support us on Patreon at bit.ly/lespatreon. You get some awesome perks like some blooper reels, which I'm sure there will be some from this episode. And you can watch lesbian movies with us. You can join our Facebook group. We love our patrons. Please join.
You can also buy our merch. We have a TeePublic shop. You can find that at bit.ly/lesshop. You can get some cool tees, cool tanks, or awesome Les Hangout pillows like Ellie and Al are sitting with right now.
Yes. I literally
They look amazing.
I have a Les under my butt right now. It's so
I
nice.
have a picture of them on the couch that you guys can post.
Yes. So happy.
There you go.
And if you want to find us individually, you can find me at Ellie Brigida on Instagram and Twitter.
And you can find me at LSH Foster on Instagram and Twitter. And with that, I'm Lee.
And I'm Ellie. And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? I'm making
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.